Hey, what's up? It's Sugar from Sound Candy Studio. Hope everyone's doing well. Right, today I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to do a beat making tutorial and it's going to be on hip hop jazz. So, see you in a moment. Welcome back. Right. Today we're going to do something slightly different. I'm going to start doing some classes or some tutorials on beat making and music making. Today's music making tutorial, I guess, is just about some sort of, how should I describe it? Hip hop jazz. That's what we should call it. We'll call it smooth hip hop jazz. Right. So there are only 5 elements in this one, and this particular track is only about a minute and a half long. As I said before, if you've watched some of my previous videos, I make all the music in my videos. I make just for these YouTube tutorials and when I'm demoing a product. Okay. So let's just start straight away. Now, straight away, we've got at the top here, we've got the drum loop. Now, that drum loop was taken from this particular pack. So I am using Loopcloud. Where I store all of my samples or some of my samples, and this is it here. It's called LAYBACK THROWBACK, and I will leave a link in the description where you can find that if you're interested in getting that. Okay, going back to our session here, I've used a virtual instrument. It's by Native Instruments and it's called Noire Felt, and it is this one here, and I will play it in a second so you can hear what it sounds like and also why I used it. Let's just close that out there. Again, I use some ghost notes by Felt Noire just to give it that extra little touch, and then I use my Fender bass, my J bass. It's my jazz bass by Fender. And also, all of these, I will leave links in the description as to where you can see these if you're interested. This one's called Final Touch. I can't remember where I got this from. It's such a long time ago, but I've also left a link in the description where you can get that kind of vinyl effect, and I believe it is also free. Okay, let's stop talking and let me play the track, and then I'll break the track down bit by bit so you can see how the track was constructed. Yeah, if you haven't already got your headphones on, now's a good time to get your headphones on. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. Right, that's it. Okay, right. So how did I make this? Obviously, we grabbed a drum sample and we just extended it. I think out of the box, it comes as a 4-bar loop, and obviously I just extended it. The Felt Noire, right. So let's go to that first of all. So right, I'll show you on here anyway, but I'm also going to show you in a second the actual chords that I use so that you can have the fingering of the chords. So it sounds a bit like this. Now, they are the chords, essentially, obviously not played like that, but I will show you them in a second. But that's the sound that I've used. Now, I've used this kind of... I've used the felt sound because it's kind of muted and it sounds kind of aged. That's what I used. Rather than trying to play that on the piano, I decided to use that particular sound. I do like it. It's almost like a lo-fi sound. So that's why I've used that one. I did have some piano in here. Now, this particular piano is one of my kind of go-to piano, and it is the Alicia Keys. Now, this sounds a bit like this. That's what that sounds like. So you can use, remember I said about the ghost notes, which I'll show you in a second, why I use some of the ghost notes, and you can probably hear them. Let's just mute the drums, and what we're going to do is probably let's mute the bass as well, and we'll hear where those ghost notes come in. So you can hear the ghost notes just slightly under. Let's just solo the ghost notes and let's hear that by itself. Now, they don't sound like nothing here, but when you put it in the track, so let's do that again. And let's add the bass. Now let's add the drums. And that's what it sounds like together. Now this, I think where I started on this one, it was simply, I actually loaded up this Noire felt, and I played those chords, and I thought, actually, that sounds kind of jazzy, kind of hip-hoppy. Now, it really does depend on the drum sample that you use, because if we just used a kit from let's just say a jazz kit, it would sound completely different. But the idea of this is that I played these chords, I'll play them again. And it sounded really deep and mellow, and I thought, actually, what can I do with that? What can I do? So literally within a couple of seconds, I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll play those chords in my head. I will launch my Loopcloud and simply go through and find a relevant sample that I think works on that. Now, given that we have sampled those sounds, we can literally go in and audition a huge amount of sounds that don't sound anything like this, and that will make a huge difference. But where I started was, I got the chords first, then I looked through a drum loop just to see what we can do. In a second, what I'm going to do is, because you are unable to see the exact chords I'm playing when I'm playing the Noire felt, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the chords that I played right now. Okay, right, so you've had a look at the chords, you can see where the fingering is, you can see how it's made. In terms of going forward, what else did I use? So on the drum loop, I didn't use much. What I did use on the drum loop is I used the Waves Vitamin. Now, I only used it as a kind of like an EQ, but also I used it to give that stereo width, and I'll explain why I used the stereo width in a second. Let's just solo the drums, and then we can hear why this use. So we'll use it with and without bypass, so we can exactly hear what it's going to do. Now, you don't have to use it this way, but what I felt on this particular loop, it needed a bit more stereo width. Now, we can't overdo it because obviously you'll get phase cancellation, all the rest of it. But what we did is I just turned it up a little bit so we can get a bit more depth. It's meant to sound like, I guess, it's meant to sound like a jazz club, that kind of eerie kind of feel. So let's play it and we'll hear what it sounds like. Just jump it back to here. So that's with the plugin engaged. So all we're trying to get here is to get that width. We're trying to get a little bit extra width, and obviously do a bit of EQ, but we're trying to get a little bit extra width. So that's why I added this plugin. I could have used the Wave Vitalizer easily on this, because that would have done the trick as well, but I thought I would just use this. So this is what it sounds like, again, with the Waves Vitalizer, with the Waves Vitamin plugin added. So if we then go in and reduce down the width, we can see what that will sound like. Let's just take these all down. Let's just see what it sounds like without the width being engaged. So obviously you can see on the low end, I did not add the width. I just neutralized that. So let's see what it sounds like without the stereo width. Certainly doesn't sound as nice. See, that sounds a lot better now. Okay, so what we're going to do here, what else did I do? Let's just move that along. Let's go to the bass. Now on the bass, I didn't use many plugins. We have a gain staging tool, which is a general gain staging tool I always use, but I did use the FabFilter Pro Q3 just to take off some of the highs. So if you take a listen to that. So I wanted it kind of low, but not extra low. But all I did was just high passed it so that we didn't low pass, just so that we can take off some of the high end, so that we don't have any of the fret sound going through the bass guitar. And that's all that was done. So if we play it in the mix again, we'll hear what it sounds like. So again, all you do is just roll off all the high end, and that's the sound that you're going to get. What did we do with the vinyl touch? So this, again, with the vinyl touch, which is just your vinyl sound effect, you'll notice at the beginning there's almost where the needle drops onto the vinyl. That was added. So let's just jump this back to the beginning. Sorry, bear with me. Jump that back to the beginning. We have that effect, and then we also have, let me just solo this, and then we also have this effect running through it. So there are two separate effects that I use, and obviously I use the first effect because that's where the actual track starts. So we just use so that's as the needle touches the vinyl, and it's just making its way in. So I've used two separate effects, and then I just comped them together so that we had this continuous sound. That really is it. In terms of the Noire felt, the main set of chords, let's solo them so you can hear them as well. And on those, what I did use there is I used the SPL Vitalizer by this is by Plugin Alliance. Now, all I used on here, I added a little bit of compression and then some stereo expanders. So what we're going to do is we'll take a listen to it with and without. So we've got it solo. Let's play it. So it's very subtle, but I'll play it again so you can hear it. So let's disengage it and let's play it without, and then we'll add it in so you can hear what it sounds like. And that's all it was. It's just to give it a bit more width. Now, if I play these chords for you, you can hear that there are a number of chords. They get kind of muddy, but that, to be honest with you, that's the sound that I wanted. I'll play it so you can hear what I'm talking about. So it's actually that set of chords there. Listen again. Now, those chords sound a little bit muddy, but that is the sound that I wanted to go for. So as I said, you've already seen the chords that I played. If you practice those chords to see if you can do it, and then see what else you could do. I did play around with this track the other day, and I added a lead guitar, just as a palm, picking palm. Then I also added a saxophone over the top of it. All of the variations you could think of. It just became more jazzy. So what I wanted to do for this particular tutorial is just say, literally in a couple of minutes, depending on where you start. I generally start with I start in two places, either with a set of chords that I like, or with a drum loop. So either one of those two gets me my inspiration. So I either start with the drum loop and thinking, actually, we'll play something along to that, or I start with a set of chords. I always start there. I never start with a bass or a guitar thinking, let's just build it from there. I always start with either some chords or some drums. So that's it for today. Let me know if you find this useful. If I've missed anything out or I didn't explain something very well, also let me know. This is the first in a long line of tutorials about beat making and music making. Well, certainly from a standpoint from where I am. So I do house and garage, R&B, hip hop. You know, I do lots of electronic type music, but I also play a bit of the guitar, I play a bit of bass, and I play a bit of keyboards. But I'm not an expert in no sense of the word. So that's it. I think I've got another video coming this week, but that's it for now. If not, then I will see you guys again next week. Take care for now. Bye bye.